You're listening to Evening Extra with Joel and Eve. Aer Lingus has announced a further 50 flight cancellations for Monday and Tuesday of next week as a result of industrial action by pilots. The airline says that brings the total number of cancelled flights to 270. Aer Lingus were at a meeting at the Labour Court in Dublin today in a bid to resolve the ongoing pay dispute. Earlier, the Taoiseach called on all sides to engage intensively in a bid to avoid utter chaos for air passengers.
I met yesterday at the Labour Employer Economic Forum here in government buildings with unions and business representative organisations, and I really made it clear to all parties that in this relatively unique dispute it is absolutely vital that people get into talks, get into engagement. We know that every single industrial relations dispute ends in engagement. My challenge to the parties now is to bring that engagement forward rather than putting people through a prolonged period of agony and chaos and then engaging in the end anyway. This dispute will be settled the same way every dispute is settled. Compromise, engagement, sitting around a table, that's what needs to happen. I welcome the fact that today both parties have agreed to attend the Labour Court, albeit separately, but I would ask people to dig deep here. There will be very little sympathy and very little support for anybody who puts the travelling public through utter chaos, who results in families having their summer holidays cancelled, who disrupts the tourism sector in our economy if they're not engaging intensively, and really that's what needs to happen.
Well, tens of thousands of passengers have seen their flights cancelled. Who knows how many more? Irish travel commentator Eoghan Corry joins us alongside Jennifer Zimmerman, who is in Malaga and was due to fly home on Friday. We'll just chat to you first, Eoghan. It looks right now that industrial action will go ahead at midnight tonight.
Yes, we've two types of industrial action. We've got a work to rule that starts at midnight tonight and goes through to Sunday. That is indefinite. There's no end date to that. We also have a one-day stoppage coming up on Saturday. The IALPA would look at the work to rule as not really being industrial action at all, but because Aer Lingus are under pressure then that if the pilot doesn't show up, they have to cancel flights at the gate. That's not what you want to do in aviation. If you want to cancel a flight, you want to do it the day before and let the passengers know. Contingency plans are costing Aer Lingus millions of euro. We have some sort of hint that the choreography of the talks, getting them into the same room, has started. They're in separate rooms at the moment talking to the Labour Court, but I'd be very, very hopeful. Once they get into the same room, which hopefully will happen I'd be confident it will happen before the weekend. There's lots to talk about. The pilots are looking for a 24% pay increase. The arbitration process recommended 9%, but it's not all going to be about pay. It's also going to be about hours, work, schedules, crewing, all of those sort of things. There's a lot to talk about and a lot of stuff that will happen behind closed doors we'll never know about.
Oh, if they get into that room and they eventually do reach some sort of agreement, how long would it take for the flights to get back on track again? And so, because I think people who have flights booked in the next few weeks will be thinking, well, how quickly can this get sorted out for me?
Aer Lingus are really working about a week in advance. If the work to rule continues from the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they'll also be looking at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. We're gone up to July the 2nd at the moment. As each day goes by, they'll look to cancel, not a large number of flights, by the way. The number of flights being cancelled on a daily basis because of the work to rule is more or less what you get out of a bad weather event or maybe a French air traffic control strike, which happens with great frequency. So it's not enormous amounts of flights being cancelled out of the schedule. The one-day stoppage is a different animal. That's where real damage will be done to the schedule. And IALPA would likely announce a second one of those if they're not getting progress as fast as they would like. There is a sense that what else they will achieve. The president of IALPA has been very critical of his predecessor of not being tough enough at Aer Lingus during over the years, and they were very, very rapidly to the stage where they rejected the arbitration process and got the strike ballot to bring it into negotiations. They are now in the position where they've dominated the news agenda. They've scared the pants off lots of passengers, and they've put Aer Lingus to the unnecessary expense of millions of euro in contingency plans. Whether they think that's far enough is up to IALPA's leadership at the moment, but it does look I would be very hopeful that everyone would get into the room, and with that sort of deadline of the stoppage on Saturday, we may even have a deal by then. We'd all emerge blinking into the daylight at 4 a.m. on Saturday morning. The pilots will keep the day. They will still get paid, and Aer Lingus will have gone to the expense of all the contingency plans for nothing.
Okay, that's Eoghan Corry.